Welcome to MBA Now. I'm Rob Van Raphorst. With us today is our President and CEO, David Stevens, here to talk about a new op-ed that he recently wrote about the need for the next president to have a housing policy director. Dave, thanks for being here. And can you kind of tell the viewers exactly why you wrote this op-ed and what it contains?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've written on this subject many times about how I think we're actually on the front edge of what is going to be a very significant housing crisis, housing challenge. We have a shortage of affordable rental units for renters. We have a delayed buying activity amongst millennials, high costs of entry-level housing, extraordinary overlapping in the regulatory arena, and this has to be solved in the next administration. I would just add, Rob, that the reason why I'm pointing it out now is the Obama administration, of which I was part of, we spent 8 years focused on the worst housing crisis since the Great Depression. And the focus of that administration was on making sure we protected people and families in their homes, make sure the rules get right so that we don't ever repeat the past. And they've been focused on enforcement. The next administration needs to change. It needs to change the dialogue in a way that President Reagan and President Clinton and most presidents have focused on housing, but this is going to require a special focus considering its importance to the economy.
Why do we need somebody specifically to be in charge of this focus? I mean, there's a lot of different agencies that already sort of deal with our issues, but why do we need a point person in the administration?
Well, that's exactly why. We have a lot of people dealing with this. I've often shown the web of regulators that are involved. If you think at both the state and federal level, and it's, again, through no fault of their own, it's just that there are so many institutions and regulators and policymakers involved in housing today, it's creating an unnatural conflict, which actually is delaying, creating impediments for builders to build homes that are affordable, to have public-private partnerships that will work together, to identify and try to resolve the interregulatory confusion that's created when regulations from one regulator conflict with another. This can only be done out of the White House. There's not a single cabinet secretary position or any other role in the United States government that would come with the authority and the ability to coordinate other than the White House. If I could just add again a point here, Rob, housing is about 1/5 of the gross domestic product of this country. It should be one of the top 5 economic platforms of any president's agenda. This is why it needs to be in the White House, and this is why we need to do it now, because the shortage, this gap, is growing wider. Every year we look at it, and it's going to be a critical component to the next sort of economic planning going forward.
You know, housing was such a big part of President Obama's beginning to his administration, and as you just laid out, this is definitely going to be a critical issue for the future president, whoever that may be. So we really appreciate you coming by and explaining it to us, and thanks.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at MBA Mortgage, or check out Mortgage Bankers Association on Facebook and Instagram.